In the previous part, we were able to set up user email verification based on the OTP system. So we are able to request a new verification OTP and verify it. In this part, let's look at how we can enforce the email verification so that after sign up, if a user doesn't verify their account, they are not able to log in. For this feature, we need to make a few changes starting in the user model file. Here, we set up the data structure of a typical user. Now for the verification purpose, we want to add a verified property. This will be a boolean and will have a default value of false. So once a new user is created, it will be indicated that they are not verified by default. Next, we move to the user route file. Here, we locate the sign-up route. What we are going to do here is that, after a successful sign-up, we want to send the verification email to the user. To do this, let's import the send verification email function from the email verification domain. We then call it just before we finally respond to the request and pass the email address. Now let's move to the user controller file and locate the authenticate user function which handles the login. Right after checking if the user exists in our system, we want to make another check for verification. Here, we check the verified property of the fetched user. If it's false, we throw an error telling the user to check their inbox for verification. Next, we move to the email verification controller. Here, we locate the verify user email function and go to the point just before we delete the OTP. What we want to do here is to update the user record after a successful verification to show verified. To do this, we need the user model which we've imported already. So we update the user record based on the email and set the verified property to true. This completes the flow, so let's do some extensive testing. With the server still up and running, let's create a post request in Postman. Here, we start by supplying the sign-up endpoint. We then change the body of the request to JSON and supply some data for sign-up. If you have already signed up with the same data, just visit your Mongo database and delete the record. Now if everything is fine, we should get a new user record back with a verified property which is false. If we check the inbox of our email, we should see a new message about the verification. Before we do anything with that email, let's create another post request and try to log in immediately. Here, we supply the login endpoint and pass as JSON the details we just used for sign up. If everything is fine, we should be prompted to check our inbox for the verification. Now let's create another post request for verifying the email. So here, we supply the verify endpoints of the email verification domain. We then pass as JSON the email address and the OTP from the received email. If all is well, we should receive the email back with a verified status. At this point, we can try logging in again. Having done the verification, we should get a response with a positive verified property and a new access token. So we have successfully enforced email verification in our Node.js authentication backend. We'll look at resetting forgotten passwords based on the OTP system list. At this point, we can save and commit the changes in our code and proceed in the next part. Link to the full source code will be in the description.